Today I want to share with you an amazing story of a trader who was learning how to trade, put a pause on it to focus on different professional and personal goals, but now is back. And the cool thing is that he invested in himself, him and his wife, I should say, invested in themselves. It worked out really good professionally. They're now in a place where they're making more money than ever. And now it's time to get back to business, meaning accomplish the goal of making their money work for them instead of just working for their money. Check out this interview.
Doing great.
Excellent. This is a face that I haven't seen for a while.
I know. It's been a long time.
Looking good, man. Looking good. So
thanks.
Look, this is James. James has been in the community for quite a while, and his wife was also part of the community and part of my TOF community. So this is, I know James very well and his wife very well. And James actually left a job the last time I talked to him. They were setting up business and really cooking with gas. So it's been a while since we caught up. Tell us a little bit about what's been going on since we last spoke.
So my wife started a business in end of 2018, and I quit my job in March of 2019 because hers was making the same amount of money that mine was, or that my regular job was, and had a lot of room to grow. And so since then, I've been a stay-at-home dad. I've been doing school at home with the girls. We have a whole nother baby than we did back then 3 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Pretty quickly after I left my job, I also stopped doing any trading stuff because I think one of the big reasons why I had wanted to trade initially was the reason that a lot of people do, right? It was like the be able to be at home, the time freedom, those things. And suddenly we had that was here.
Yeah.
And I was at home, and my wife she works like 6 or 7 hours a day, and she's at home. We can see her when we need to. And so one of the big reasons for why I had wanted to trade was just gone. And I was getting used to just taking care of the kids and all of that stuff. But then over the last couple of months, it's kind of circled back around to, it's still something that I'm interested in. It's still something that I enjoy. And now it's here as a possibility for us to do a good job to potentially, accent and augment the income that we have. Last year, our take home was 4.5 times what it was 3 years ago. Like when I was working, like her business is just only up and up at the moment, and has been for the last 3 years. She has a course that she's releasing soon, and so she's doing awesome. But also there's this thing where we're like, all right, we really want to make sure that we do a good job of doing stuff with, putting our money to work, not just letting it go out the window. We don't want that to happen. So it's been really great to just jump back in. And I'm really just kind of, I feel like I'm starting over. I had Daryl just like wipe my account, wipe all of the stuff that I had completed off of there, just so I could
start fresh.
Yeah. Hit the check marks again. I have the backtesting. I have, I'm looking back through my old, trade plan and stuff, but it was also, I was like, oh yeah, I know how to trade. And then I read through my trade plan and I was like, oh, that's a huge, really important rule that I totally did not remember was a rule of mine. So that was a good reminder. Like, all right, it's just, again, there's no rush. There's even less of a rush now than there was before.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I'd be interested to see how your approach differs from that, because obviously you was in a state of, I want to trade to be free of time and be able to trade from home and all the rest of it. Now that's relieved. I wonder how your approach will be. I wonder if you'll see things more clearly. I wonder if you'll see things for what they are more, instead of from a kind of desperation, not desperation, but you know what I mean? It's like there's a desperate vector there,
Yeah, for
as
sure.
opposed to not having that desperate vector there, and what you'll be able to see that you didn't see before. Interesting, man. Yeah. So you're starting from scratch. You're going to be going through it from scratch and doing exactly what you did before. So building a trade plan, testing, doing some testing.
Yep. And I may well pick up where, you know, that trade plan that I had before. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. I want to update the like 2.5 years of data that's in between on that trade plan now and make sure that that's, you know, how that's working.
That'll be interesting.
But yeah. And I think one thing, thinking about with backtesting for Eamon too, is like, I started my backtesting like 3 or 4 times, because every time I'd like, I'm backtesting, and then I'd be like, oh, I should really be thinking about this thing too. All right, let me go back. And I mean, you can be like, all right, those trades were still good, but let me go look at all of them again and add in that extra thing. And then I'd get a little bit farther down. I'm like, oh, I should really think about that. And then go back and do it. And like, that's fine too, you know, like it's.
Whenever you do the back testing for the first time, I think this is where Eamon, like when Eamon's obviously got a goal to, it's quite a fast timeline. I'm not saying that you can't do it, but it's, I think what people underestimate is when you get to the testing phase, that kind of ironing out ideas that you have, you know, oh, what if I did this, you know, and then you go back and test again. And it's like, oh yeah, but what about this? And there's this kind of period where you do have to keep going back until you've got it to where you want it. And then you can go and test all the pairs or whatever you want to do. But it does take a little longer than most people think, which I think is one of the biggest reasons people stop. But anyway, you're back. So you're definitely ambitious in trading. It's obviously you've cleared your mind. You don't need...
So you can't get rid of me now.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, no, it's great to have people like you in the community, man. It's Tony's here as well. He's lifetime. You know, Tony's great. He's been here
from back then.
Yeah, right. And he's been trading for many, many years. And it's just great to have these types of people in here. It really is. So you've come from, you're going to go through it now. So you're very ambitious in trading. Obviously, you don't need to learn to spend time at home, but it's something you want to do to accelerate your wealth. Obviously, your wife's building a business. You're going to have great income coming in as well that you could potentially manage. I'd be interested to see how you approach it this time as opposed to last time, and if you pick up on any differences in your approach or things that you see that you didn't see before. Was there anything that you struggled with before that you might struggle with again, or?
I don't know.
I think you was all right, weren't you?
Yeah, things were going pretty well, even though like I was wanting to do stuff quickly. I was still like, I mean, my very first exposure to trading really was Trade Empowered in Tier 1. So like I've had a pretty good mindset in terms of what I actually expect from trading and what I expect to have to do. So that's always been good. Like I mentioned to Akil, he had the 80-20 podcast just a little while ago talking about that. And I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll look around and see if, you know, for some other worthwhile people to pay attention to in the trading space. And then I made the grave error of searching Forex on YouTube, you know, now, and all of my Instagram and all of my Facebook is just all scams, you know, basically, you know, like this trader has been blah, 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 you know, and so it's fine though. But I did find some other good people that, like the trader Nick that he interviewed with just the other day. I ran into him and I was like, oh, this guy's actually like, seems pretty good. Seems like he has his head on straight. Cool. Okay, great. Yeah.
No, there's a few good guys, but there's a lot of bad guys, unfortunately.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just the way this has always been since I can remember, but it just seems worse now. Cool. So is there anywhere you want to be by the end of the year then, picking things up? Have you got a plan in your head or
August?
Not?
It's the end of August.
We've got 4 months.
3 months?
Pretty much.
4 months, yeah. Where do I want to be then? I haven't really honestly sat down that much and thought about it, which means I'm not going to be there, you know, but I mean, getting through the foundation and stuff, I'm not too worried about that. I've got lots of time to watch that while I'm sorting laundry and cooking and all sorts of stuff. It's great. Yeah. So that's good. And some of that I do feel I am going through definitely as review, just kind of like, all right, let me brush up on the stuff that I had known before and remember. But I think by the end of the year, I really want to have an idea in terms of how I want to trade. So I started off again. I started off with like, I'm going to do 26.18 on Eurodollar. I wanted like the least amount of discretion possible, sort of. I was like, all right, it's just a, boom, 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 boom. Then I do it and it's done and it's easy. And I'm much more interested now in being able to kind of take the time and build up the ability kind of with CTS and things like that to look at discretion and be able to make, there's still clear rules, but to have more of a decision in what I'm doing. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing, is to have a good feel for what is it I'm looking for in how I want to trade, I guess, towards the end of the year.
Excellent. That's amazing. So it'd be cool to catch up with you towards the end of the year then, just to see kind of where you're at and
for sure.
where you picked up your trade plan, what you've done with it. I've got a real kind of vested interest in following you along, man, because this is a great one. Like, I know where you was before, I know what's happened since, I know what you're doing now, and I'm really interested to see how you pick it up and where you kind of the direction you take. You already mentioned that you're able to focus more on discretion based or let's call it more subjective style of systems than the objective, which already tells me that your mind's working slightly different, right, on this approach. It's fascinating. So, mate, I'd love to catch up towards the end of the year, maybe at November, December, just to see where you're at. And don't be a stranger in the community either.
For sure.
You're a big part of it now. Amazing, man. Thanks very much, James. It's been a pleasure talking to you, mate.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I know it's a little bit different than what you're used to here, but I think it's extremely important that you have the opportunity to hear from traders that, aren't me and aren't Jason Grayson. Again, we've been through our journeys. We've shared our journeys with you a million times, and each and every person's journey is a little bit different. And hopefully it's relatable in a way that is encouraging, it is motivating, and it allows you to get what you need to take your trading to the next level as well.